Howdy, Javadis here, and let's learn all of the modify tools in Revit, and also we will learn sections and snaps in Revit. If you are wondering why all of them in just one video, because this is the fifth session of Revit Architecture for Beginner course. I will put the link in here. You can go watch other sessions of this one too. But if you just want to learn modify tools in Revit, you can follow along too. Or if you want to learn about sections or snaps in Revit, you can use the chapters and time codes in the description too. Let's go to the screen and let's learn modify tools in Revit. After learning walls in Revit in the previous session and also learning how to modify them, right now we want to learn how to move them, how to rotate them, scale them, and all of those things that we have in other software too, like AutoCAD and Vectorworks and all of them. We have all of them in Revit, and even they are more advanced in Revit in comparison with other software. So let's go in plan 1, and in here let's create some, and also let's go to 3D and see them in 3D too. Let me put it on shaded, and here let's go to modify tab, and in here we want to talk about the modify panel that we have in here. The first one and the easiest one is move and or MV for the shortcut. You can use whatever you want, but the tip and the point here that you need to select, it is not a must, but it is better to select your elements before activating the modify tools in comparison with other software. So for example, if I want to move this one, I can select it, and then the modify tab will automatically will be activated, and now I can select the tool that I need. For example, I selected move or MV, and then in the option bar we have two options. The first one is constraint, or it will work like Orso or F8 in AutoCAD, and also it will when it is active it will contain the 90-degree angles. But if we have a disjoint too, but before explaining it, let's move this one. After activating the move tool, you need to specify the base point for movement, for example in here, and then in any direction that you like, you can specify the direction in here. You don't need to click anywhere, just specify the direction, and then you can just click and use temporary dimensions, or you can input your a specific dimension and measurement that you need. For example, let me put it on 5, click on OK, and you can see it in here. But this move was in disjoint mode. But if I would activate the move again, and if I would turn off the disjoint option in here, let's move it again in here by 5 meters, you can see all of the connected walls will move to. So when the disjoint is off, the Revit will try to contain the connection between elements. But sometimes if you just want to move the specific element, you need to turn on the disjoint. So that was the point for disjoint move. And let's try once with the constraint option on too. When you turn on the constraint, and let's put the disjoint on off, and let's move it again. You can see I only can move this element in 4 major angles, in 0 angles and 90 and 180 angles. So that's the point with constraint. And also, if you don't want to use constraint when you are moving, you can press shift and hold shift, and it will activate constraint temporarily for you to, for example, when I hold shift, it will bring it in constraint. So that's another option that you can use. That was for the move option, or even you can just select your element and drag it wherever you want. It is another way to move. And also you can select your elements and use arrow keys on your keyboard to move it slightly in any direction that you like. So that's two other points, that's two other way that you can move your elements in Revit. Let's go to the second tool that we have in modify panel, and that is copy. For example, I want to create a copy from this wall in here. So let's select the wall in here, click on copy or use CO for shortcut, and then specify the base point, for example, the center point in here. And then again, you can hold shift for constraint. You can click wherever you want your copy. And also even you can specify the exact dimension. You can type it, something like this. But let's select this file again, press CO for shortcut, select the base point, and let's bring it in here. And now we have another wall from this type in here. Sometimes you want to create some multiple copies. When I do the copying in a traditional or in a basic way without multiple option on, let me select this option and let's click on copy. When the constraint is the same with move, so I'm not going to explain it again, but with the multiple option, when it is turned off and when you create a copy, for example, in 2 meter in here, it will exit from the copy move, and if you want to create another copy, you need to do the same process again. But sometimes we want to create some multiple copies. So when you click on copy and when you activate the copy tool, make sure to turn on the multiple tool for yourself. For example, let's click on multiple, and in here, when I press 2, the copy tool will be remain activated for the second one too. For example, let's create another copy with 1. Let's create another copy with 0.5 meter in here. So that's the way to use copy for your project. The next option that we want to use, let me create a wall in here. The next option that I want to use is rotate. To rotate, select your elements again and click on rotate, or you can use RO for the shortcut. And then first of all, in any software, you can specify the pivot point for the rotate. By default, it is the center of the object, but if you want to change the pivot of the rotation, for example, to this corner, you can click on place, and then you can specify the point that you want to be the pivot point for rotation. For example, this point is great, and then you need to click once for the base place of your rotation, for example in here, and this second input is gonna be or angle, or just clicking again to specify the place that you want to have your rotated object. For example, I wanted to be in here, so click in here and it will be rotated in here. But it just rotated and didn't make any copy. If you want to do the copy and rotate at the same time, it is really easy. Select your element, click on rotate, place your pivot point, for example, in here, and make sure the copy is activated. This one will do the same thing here, so I'm not going to explain it again. Make sure to activate the copy and click on in here, and let's for example put it on 45 degree in this direction and click on enter, and now you will have a wall in 45 degree with this wall that you have in here. So that was a way that you can do the copy and rotate at the same time. The next tool is trim or extend. The trim and extend tool is combined in Revit, so you need to use them in combine, and it has a logic, and we want to learn the logic in here. I will pause the video, I will create some conditions, and we will continue. Okay, I made some different scenarios that you may encounter in your projects, and we will solve all of them. You can use trim and extend tool in here, or the shortcut is TR, but in here you don't need to select anything beforehand. So just click on trim, and for example, let's select this part and this part. You can see at the same time it will trim, and it also will extend this one to here. It will trim this part and it will extend this one to here. So it is much more smarter in comparison with the AutoCAD trim and other software trims. For example, if I would select this part of this wall and this, it will delete this part. So that's the logic in here. Let me trim these two together. And in here, we have two options. The first way that, for example, the first intention would be to keep here and extend this one to here. So you need to use trim tool in here. It will do the same thing for you. The second intention would be keep this part and extend this part to here. So you can do it too. But the third intentions would be to just extend this wall to here. You can select the wall and you can drag this point in here, or in a more smart way, you can use another tool that we have here, just extend tool. It is just extend, it doesn't do any trim for you. The extend tool, you need to activate the extend tool in here, and then you need to specify the base reference, and you can specify the element that you want to extend it to there, and it will just extend this one to here, and it doesn't do any trim for you. And after that, even you can use trim to clear this part of your work. And in here, we have the exact things. We want to delete this part and we want to create a clear space between these two rectangles. Just click in here and in here, you will have the same thing that you want. In here, I want to clear this part, so I will select this and this. It will clear this part. In here, I want to make this, I just want to make this wall shorter to bring it in here. So I can use extend tool, and I can use this, and I can select this one. It will extend this wall to just here. Sometimes it is not that easy. I want to extend multiple walls, for example, in here. They are in different lengths. I want to extend all of them to here. So I can use another option that I have in here, multiple extend. You need to activate it, and then you will specify the base reference, and then you can drag all of the elements that you want to extend them to the point that you like. So that is much easier in comparison with selecting them one by one. But let's assume that we want to delete this part of the horizontal wall from here. When you use trim, default trim, when you do it, it will delete all of these parts. But I just want to delete this part. What's the solution? To do it, we have another tool in here, which is a split element. You need to click on a split element, and when you hover over this pen on any wall, you can split the wall in two parts. For example, when I split it, you will see a line in here, and then I can use trim, and I can create the situation that I like to have, and also I can, for example, select these two and create a copy from them in here, and then I can use trim again, TR, and create this kind of situation that I like. So that was a situation that you can encounter. You can solve it with a combination of trim and split tool in here. The next thing that we want to have is align tool. Let me place just a furniture. We will talk about the furniture later. Just let me place some tables or desks in here, and I want to align these with the wall. You can select them and move them, but it is not that intuitive. But you can use align tool, or the basic shortcut is AL for it. You can use align tool, and you need to specify the base line, and then you can click on the line that you want to be aligned with that. So just click on it and it will be aligned. And also we can do it multiple times very easily. And for example, let's align this part with this part. It is aligned in vertical, and let's align this line with this line. It will align it in here, or even you can align them center by center. So that's the way that you can align. And also we can use aligns in 3D too. For example, let's assume that we have walls with different height. We want to make them at the same height. That's really easy to use aligns with it. So let me create some walls in here. For example, let's convert these two heights to this one. To do that, click on align and zoom in and choose this face in here, and then select the faces that you want to align it with it. And even we have a lock option in here. Let's lock it and let's align the third one too. And also you have the multiple alignment tool in here too, so you can align multiple faces at the same time. And let's lock this one too. But what does lock will serve us? What does it? When you change the height of any one of these three wall, it will because they are locked, they will change them. They will change by each other, and they are locked with each other. So that's the point in here. And you can use aligns in 3D too. For example, you can align. Let me place some other furnitures in here. You can see the orientation is different, but when you do the alignment with this face, I'm using AL for it, and when I choose this face, it will rotate the object too, and you can see the orientation is same. So this is really helpful, and align is one of my favorite tool in Revit. So use it and you will see that it will enhance your processes. After learning align, let's learn offset in Revit. So that maybe you're looking for offset. But personally, I don't use offset a lot because we have peak line in any tool that we have in Revit. We can use peak line as an offset. For example, let me put it on 2 meter. And you can use peak line as an offset very easily. But sometimes for creating multiple offsets at the same time, it is useful. Click on offset and then you can specify the numerical number of it. For example, let me put it on 5 meter, and then you can hover over on the element that you want to create an offset, and then you will see a preview from down or above. The switch between them is not really that hard. You only need to hover over your cursor on it, and it will give you multiple options above of it or bottom of it. So that's not very hard, and just you only need to click once, and then you will have the offset. But why did the whole design changed? Because there was no copy, and it will contain the connection too. So if you want to create another copy in here, you need to make sure the copy option is on, and then let's create another offset in here, and you can create multiple offsets at the same time. But the cool thing here that I love is that you need to, for example, you can put it on 3 meter, and you can hover over on just one of your walls in here, and you can press tab, and then you can create a whole new area for your design. For example, you can create a 5 meter offset from your basic plan shape or any other shape that you have. You can even use it in interior parts. For example, let's create a 2 meter. Let's put it on 2 meter, and let's press tab again. And sometimes it doesn't work, and it doesn't work all the time. So it just works most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't work. In here, you can see with 2 meter it doesn't work, but it works. Sorry, but for the interior part it didn't work. Let me put it on 2 meter, and let's press tab once, and you can see I've made another offset in here. Let me delete this one. It's not that functional, but sometimes it is useful. When we go in floors and roofs, you can see they are useful. All of them are not that functional in walls, but some of these tools will be more functional in other tools like roof, floors, and those things. And the next tool that we want to use is mirror. In Revit, we have two kind of mirrors, or two different tools for mirrors. Both of them do mirror, obviously, but they are a little bit different. This is, for example, our axis that we want to mirror our walls against it. And let's create another axis in here. And sometimes you don't have this kind of references in your model, and you need to draw your axis. In that situation, you need to use draw axis mirror. But sometimes you have the wall that you want to mirror things against it, and you don't need to draw your axis, and you just want to pick an element as an axis. So in that time you need to use mirror pick axis. So that's the difference. Let's use them. For example, let's select this unit and let's click on mirror draw axis or DM, and let's draw our axis, for example, in here, and it will mirror it at the axis that we draw. But sometimes, for example, we want to mirror these against this wall or at the axis of this wall. So we need to click on mirror pick axis, and we can select the center of this file, and it will mirror these things in here with usage of this wall as an axis. And also we can use some we can mirror these with this wall too. So again, put it on mirror axis and select this one, and you have the mirrors. So that's not really hard, and that is really easy and intuitive to work with mirrors in Revit. The next tool that we want to learn is array. For example, we have a array is not really helpful in Vault. As I said, it will be more functional in other tools. For example, we want to create a WC unit in here, and we want to have multiple of it. So we can use arrays. For example, let's select these two and let's click on array, or you can use AR as a shortcut. And then we have two different kind of arrays. We have linear array and radial array. And in each of them, we have two different methods, second and last. I will talk about all of them, so don't worry, and we will learn it, and we will learn them, and they are really easy. For example, in linear mode, we have two different methods. The first method is second, that you will specify the distance between the first one and the second one. For example, let me select the baseline, and I want the next unit be in here. And then it will be something like this, and then you can specify the number of them. For example, 5. It is on last, sorry, let me put it on second. Let's select them again. Let's put it on linear and second, and let's do the same thing again, and then specify the number of them. For example, 5, and it will copy them after each other. And for example, you can understand how many units that you can fit in here. That was the second linear and second mode. Let's use last mode too. For example, in last mode, you will create the last wall, or you have the last wall, and let's create a horizontal line in here. And let's select the first wall. We have the first wall, just let's split them in here. Or maybe, that's great. And let's split them another time in here. And let's select this wall, and let's select array again, and let's put it on last this time. And let's say the last place of our place is here. Let's select this one, click on it, click in here once, and then you can specify the number of walls that you need to have in the middle of them. We will delete the last one after our work is done because they are overlapping. But for example, you can change it on 10. Don't care about it right now. You can put it on 15. Let me delete these ones. And let's see it again. Even after creating your array, you can select one of them and you can change the number of them. It is really great because it will give you more potential to use array. But the downside is that it will make them as groups, and when you ungroup them, you won't have the array option anymore. So that's the point that you need to know in here. But we will talk about the groups later, so don't worry about it. And that was for the linear and last option for our arrays. But we have some linear options too. That's not functional in walls, but it is functional in some of designs, and especially it is functional in placing seats and those kind of things stadiums and those places. But let's create a wall in here, and let's select it, and let's activate the array tool, and then we will have linear and radial, and let's put it on radial in here, and we will have last and second option. They will do the same thing in here too. And another option that you have in here is place for the rotation of this array. Let me put it on here, and let's use last in this option. For example, select your base, select your array start, and you can specify the end of your radial zone of your array. For example, let's put it on 180, and then you can specify the numbers between these two. For example, let's put it on 8, 9, and if you want a full circle array, select it and drag this line in here and make it by yourself, and this is manual in here. And then you can select one of them, and you can change the number very easily in here. So that's not really hard. But in the second mode, which is second in linear, again, let's select this one, select array and activate it, place your base rotation in here. And in the second mode, it is exactly like a linear array. You need to specify the start of your array and the angle between each of them. For example, you want an angle about 20 degrees between each of your elements, and then you can specify the number of elements that you want with this angle in order of each other. For example, let's put it on 10, and when I put it, for example, on 20, it will create a full circle, or you can use 19 in here. It doesn't make more because it will be more than 360. The minimum number is need to be lower than 360. For example, like put it on 50, 60, and maybe 70 will be the last number, or 80. You can see it will both of them are at the as same, but it depends on your needs and the way that you want to achieve this goal, and it is the different option that Revit will give you in arrays for you. We have a scale option, but we don't use it in here. It's not that similar to AutoCAD scale or 3ds Max scale, but if you are a pro user, if you are a beginner user, you don't need to learn it right now. We will learn it after in later sessions. But if you are a pro session, I have a video about scaling Revit families. I will put the link in here. Go and watch that too. You will learn how to scale Revit families and also imported families. That was the modify part of this session, and now let's learn about sections in Revit and also snap settings in Revit. After creating your walls and your buildings, it is nice to have a section. To create a section, you only need to go to the View tab, and in here we have a section. You can create section with just two click, the first click and the second click. And now you have your section. You can specify the region or the depth of your section, and also you can change the section place very easily. And let's click on it, and the magic happens, and you have your section in 1 minute. And let's press WT for view tiles, and let's change the section part. For example, in here, let's put it on in here. You can see the difference in live view. This is amazing. You will forget about the nightmare of section in AutoCAD. And also you can also create some split sections that I have uploaded another video about a split section. I will put the link in here. You can go and watch that too, and you can learn the split sections in Revit too. And you can change the direction of your section very easily with this tool you have in here. You can change the direction of your section very easily with this option. And also another thing that we have in here is that you can make your section view smaller. For example, let's press WT again. Let's go in view plan, let's select it, and when I make it smaller in here, you will see the section will be smaller too. But the symbols are separate, so you need to adjust the symbols separately in here. So that's the reason that you have to adjust them manually. And that was it for the section part, and this is a beginner part for section, so I'm not going to go in details. And you will have some options in edit type for section, the tag of it and the shape of the section tag, and the other options are not that functional, so I'm not going to go in detail in here. Let's press TW in here to go to the full screen mode. Let's delete this one, or we can let's put it be in here. The next option that we need and the next tool that we need to learn in this course is snap options. By default, all of the snaps are activated in Revit, and when you go, for example, in here, it will have intersection. When you go in the middle, you will have the middle snaps, and also you will have the end snaps too. But sometimes, for example, I want to create a wall from the center of this circle, and it is not activated by default. To use these sections and to activate the exact snap that you want to use, we have some shortcuts. For example, I want to create a wall from the center of it. I will activate the wall tool, and then I press SC for center of this wall, and when I hover over the perimeter of this circle, I will have the center of the circle, and then you need to click once, and then the start point of your wall will be the center of this circle. Let's do it again. Activate the wall and hover over it in here and press SC for the center of the circle and click again, and you will have the wall from the center of this wall. And if you want to access to the settings of snaps and to see all of the shortcuts for each snap that you have in Revit, go to the Manage tab, and in here we have a snap, and you can see we have all of the shortcuts for endpoint, midpoint, nearest, intersection, and all of those in Revit, and you can deactivate any of them that are irritating you in your design. Some of them are not that useful in some designs. So for example, in some design I don't use parallel, and I turn it off, so that will help me to work faster. So that's your preference, and you can adjust it by your preference at any time that you like. So that's not about a specific role. That was it. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it was, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and colleagues, and make sure to check other sessions of Revit Architecture beginner course in here. I will put the playlist in here, and make sure to introduce this course to your friends, and don't forget to share your works and exercise it with me on Instagram, and I will mention you on my story too. So make sure to follow me on there too. I will see you on the next session.